The shit I hear on the internet, man. Why? Why? I mean, he could have got himself a test kit or something. But a woman walks into her son's room to find her son profusely shaking in a seizure like manner. Panicking, she calls 911, but it might be too late for him. A 24-year-old man who we'll call Mike for the sake of this video decided to take psychedelic mushrooms from the dark web. Now, for those who don't understand what either one of those two are, which, if you don't know what magic mushrooms are or the dark web, you're living under a rock. But the dark web is basically the internet unhinged. Um, you can find basically any conspiracy, any files, red rooms, a bunch of things on these sites or on this type of internet. It's basically an iceberg. What magic mushrooms are, on the other hand, is a drug or a plant, basically, which actually it's a fungus that grows from feces and primarily makes you hallucinate. Well, Mike had spent around 2 months on the dark web, and after hearing so many cautionary tales about hackers, scammers, and killers, he still decided to give it a look. But what he found was so much more intriguing than any other site could have been and anything he could have imagined. What he found was, you guessed, magic mushrooms. And it was actually quite common for Mike to indulge in psychedelics as he thought he had undiagnosed depression, which, I mean, has got to suck. I mean, feeling like you have a mental illness that only you have and no one understands, or not basically that only you have, but that you only you can see. And it's got to be frustrating. So he basically believed he had undiagnosed depression and would take these substances to self-medicate. And I totally understand this part too because I used to believe in like a higher understanding or a higher power, you could say, through psychedelics at one point too. But this man decided to take magic mushrooms off the internet, which is crazy within itself because you're not only shopping for drugs on the internet, but you're shopping for them on the hidden internet. So this man named Mike decided to take magic mushrooms off the internet. And apparently there was instructions on how to take these, which I find super weird because they're just mushrooms. I mean, I'll admit I've indulged in mushrooms or shrooms. I just call them shrooms, but I've indulged in shrooms. And what I'm about to tell you guys, I mean, is crazy. I've never heard of this. Apparently, he was supposed to boil them in hot water and inject them. Now, that's all it says. I don't know if you inject the water from boiling them. I don't know if you crush them up or what. I don't know. I don't know. But apparently, he would inject the shrooms and he wanted to microdose. And for those who don't know what microdosing is, it's when you take small amounts of the same psychedelic or, same supplement or medicine and you basically hope to cure certain areas or emotions or memories or functions. It's actually quite common for a lot of states. Well, not a lot of states. It's actually barely beginning in a lot of states that people do microdosing therapy, where again, they take small amounts of the same psychedelic drug, either shrooms or LSD, some even MDMA, in hopes to cure mental illnesses or trauma or PTSD. But essentially, he was microdosing for a couple of days now. And after a couple of days, he felt nauseous and sick. And he started to feel like he was ready to throw up, like everything was about to come out. He went to a sink and apparently threw up the contents of his stomach. And what he saw was blood, but he thought he was hallucinating. I mean, he had to have been. He was on mushrooms, right? Well, he thought maybe he was having just a bad trip and decided to increase the dosage. After this, his mother found him in a seizure like state, and this is where we are now. So apparently, after taking further examinations from doctors, and they were rushing around because, this man is seizuring, he's on the verge of death, it looks like, but they have no idea what he took. He's unconscious, his mother doesn't know. Well, after a couple of special blood tests, they happen to find cyanide in his bloodstream. And cyanide is a type of poison that is a fast reacting poison that usually causes foaming of the mouth and blood clots and eventually leads to death within seconds, usually 2 to 3 minutes. And it turns out he had been injecting himself with cyanide as well as the mushrooms. So not only was he injecting cyanide into his body, but the shrooms that he was injecting wasn't even breaking down. This just left a bunch of fungus growing into his body, which was even worse. I mean, without the way that mushrooms work is they need to be broken down. So without breaking them down by, your metabolite system, if you inject them, there's no way of your body breaking it down, just absorbing it. So you're basically just absorbing fungus into your body. There's been a lot of conspiracy, a lot of theory, that you could get high this way, but everybody who has tried this ends up in the same position. So, through a couple of supplements, apparently they were able to reverse the side effects or the damage he had done to his body. But he was wheelchaired for a couple of months. So, I mean, this is just crazy, dude. What kind of person trusts mushrooms? I mean, and again, who this just gives me so many headaches. Who laces their drugs with cyanide? I mean, do you hallucinate from cyanide? I don't know. I mean, I really hope this guy learned his lesson. I mean, I hope he stops taking psychedelics or not. I mean, I don't know. I'm if and ands on the psychedelic thing. I still kind of stand in the middle of that because I do believe, they have a lot of power behind it. I just feel like I don't understand it. That's why I stand on the maybe. But, moral of the story is don't buy fucking mushrooms from the dark web, guys. Don't buy mushrooms from the internet. Just grow it. I mean, it's not that hard. You could literally find everything you need to grow mushrooms on Amazon. Even psilocybin. I think that's what it's called, or psilocybin, or something like that. But you can find all of this on Amazon. I mean, and I'm not saying go grow shrooms, but if you're gonna take shrooms, might as well grow them yourself. The worst you could do is, you have a bad trip or you end up vomiting. I mean, because you grew them wrong. Or, just find someone you know. And, no, because even then, you don't know who they got that from. They could tell you, they grew it or they know a guy that knows a guy. I don't know. You might as well just grow it yourself. Moral of the story is, guys, grow your own shrooms. But this has been Off the Radar podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one.